Welcome, and I'm John in California today in the Santa Cruz Mountains in traditional lands of the Amamutsin, Awaswas, and Chitoni people, all subgroups of the Ohlone culture here. And here it's a beautiful morning with the blue sky, and just really feeling a lot of gratitude this morning for um, the feeling of all the berries ripening on the tall trees, the madrone trees, and all the acorns that are dropping, and all the abundance that's here after a very dry summer and a good start to the rainy season. Life is just really, really responding, and it's so nice. And I love this gathering here. All of you, thanks for coming in. We're celebrating um, the birthday of Cultural Emergence, and really happy to be here and just offer a big blanket of gratitude for all the things that I haven't mentioned. But if you feel, like you'd like to say hello where you are joining us from and something you're feeling grateful for, that would be wonderful. That would really help us get some spirit going in the chat there. Um, and yeah, I'll pass it
Hello,
over to you.
everyone. It is really lovely to be here. Oh, I am having a lot of gratitude in this moment, twofold, for technology that we can meet like this. And as I am currently today in the mountains, in the Kootenai Mountains on the traditional lands of the Sinaiax people, the gratitude of being able to watch the sun this morning come up over the mountains as the snow was creeping lower and lower and lower. This moment of changing seasons is fantastic. And I'm thrilled to be able to share parts of my cultural emergence journey with all of you. And with that, Looby, may I pass to you?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm really delighted to be celebrating with everyone. It's been what a year it's been for all of us on so many different levels. And tonight really is a celebration of the collaboration and co-creation that has come forth from this time of working with the Cultural Emergence Toolkit. And I'd like to give gratitude to John for starting this journey with me in 2016, and then all the people that have been part of that journey since then, and Maddie Harland, who can't make it tonight but has helped me publish the book, and then the Cultural Emergence Facilitators training, which we've just finished after I think 16 months together of working globally online. And we're going to see some of their work and designs that they've been doing today, and just sharing that inspiration from you. And thank you everyone that's made the time to watch this, and thank you everyone that's in the Zoom room and on Facebook Live or watching it later. Yeah, big warm welcome to you, whether you know about Cultural Emergence or not. Hopefully this will inspire you to find out more about the toolkit and bring it into your own lives. So first up, we're going to have a sharing from Lucas in Germany on a quick design that he's done. So yeah, over to you, Lucas.
Thank you, Looby. I'm nervous to be here. I'm really excited, and I have a lot of gratitude for the one thing that we finished our facilitators pathway training. It was quite an intense process over 1.5 years, which I'm going to share a little bit, or one of my designs. And I have deep gratitude for the empowerment that I've felt through Cultural Emergence being birthed into the world, to the toolkit it brings, to the network and connection it brings. And I've deeply felt that and feel that. And I'm very happy to share a little bit. So in my facilitators pathway training, I did 3 designs. 2 of them were kind of rather big designs over a process of more than a year. And I feel that the design, where some of you might have been working with it, is can be quite deep, and we can go quite into a rabbit hole and not find the way out. And so I'm kind of keen to learn more how to use it in a quick and efficient way, so that I can rather apply it on a daily basis or for smaller projects. Maybe it was also inspired by John's design a little bit. You'll probably see later. And for me, we have been moving with our family and have been moving into a new house. And to move into a new room is something that I've not been so good at in the past, and I wanted to use the help of the Cultural Emergence design web and the tools. And so I gave myself a little bit of time to observe and interact. And then I was also keen to find different ways of sharing a design, because some of you might have tried to write up a design and end up with like a little book or something. And it's not so easy to hand to somebody to easily say, hey, why don't you have a quick look at it? And I'm also learning to approach more technical and multimedia ways of sharing. So I did a little something. It's about 3 minutes, and I'm very happy to share it with you. And I'm also going to say goodbye already. So Kate's going to put up the video, and I have to move to another meeting. But I wish you a wonderful evening, and I'm very happy to share. So film up.
Lots of fun seeing that. And as Lucas said, that he was inspired by John's design, so that's a perfect segue then into your design. John, over to you to share about your activating flow design.
Yeah, so I had it was a funny experience because Libby and I were talking for a while about what are we going to design? We have to have a design going into the seed course ourselves. We have to role model design, and kept talking about this messy garage as an idea, but I wasn't actually thinking about doing it. And Libby says, "Well, you keep mentioning this garage. Maybe that should be your design." I walked out in that garage, and the whole thing was just filled with a mountain of stuff because we had moved into the house months before, and the last room that we didn't deal with was the garage. We just kept opening the door and throwing everything in there, and there was this giant pile. You couldn't pull a car in, you couldn't do any work. And when I first moved in, I had this lovely idea. Like when I saw the house, there was this really great workshop space in the garage that where I could set up tools and do household projects and things, repairs and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be so nice to have a workshop space, and I'll be able to do calls sometimes from in there while I'm puttering around and doing things. And well, that just never happened. In fact, the garage became kind of like a black hole of energy. When you went in there, you wanted to leave it as quickly as possible. And I was feeling the effects of the pandemic and isolation and all the sedentary things that were happening. And I was starting to think about, okay, when this whole thing starts to relax a little bit and I have to be moving again, where's the momentum going to come from? I just don't have any flow going. I feel like I've been doing a lot of sit spot time in nature, which has been great. But I feel like I had now that inertia of sitting still for a long, long time. I'm sure you can relate to that. So I had these two things that I was trying to solve. Like if I could have a beautifully organized space that would support us when there's blackouts here in the mountains, there's a lot of them, make it real easy to run the generator and all that sort of thing. And I had, I don't know, 40 something years of archives that I closed a storage unit and put them all in the garage. And so I just had all these things crashing together, and it just felt like I had no energy to go at this job. It just felt like too much. And every time I thought of doing it, I felt like Superman near kryptonite. My body would get heavy and I would feel myself sinking down. And I was like, oh, I don't know, this is a terrible idea doing the garage. Everything is wrong with this. I can't do it. It's not going to happen. But then I thought, well, wait. Sarah keeps saying that we live too far away from the gym for her to lift weights because she has to lift weights because she has to keep her body in balance. And she's also a body worker. And she has, if she doesn't constantly work out, she has an issue that crops up. So um, she's like, well, couldn't we maybe clear space in the garage? And I'm just like, oh, I felt so bad. So all of a sudden, it all just came together. And I thought the name of this design is Activating Flow because it isn't just about cleaning a garage, it's about generating energy and causing all this positive movement. And well, I did similar to what Lucas did. I did all kinds of mini designs for all the different functions that were in that space. And then I just moved everything out of the garage into the driveway while the weather was still nice. And decided nothing was coming back in until I understood where everything was going. And I suddenly had all this energy. It was like, I don't know where it came from, but I think it came from activating flow. I mean, literally. And I suddenly had an abundance of energy, and I found myself just living in the garage, enjoying staying in there and hanging out and looking at things and scratching my chin while on the phone, and I couldn't stop working on it. And after a couple of 3 weeks of hard work, all of a sudden the garage was wide open and empty. A beautiful butterfly flew in one morning, did this lovely circle, and then flew back out again. I felt like it was a blessing. And I was just telling Luby that, well, then Sarah, she got the weight bench and she rolled a carpet out there, and all of a sudden she's in there hanging out, and we had music in there, and it was like amazing shift, and it totally changed the energy of this home. But on top of that, it activated flow, and now I'm on the other end of activating flow, where I'm asking the question, wow, what do I do with all this flow? Because now I'm busier than I've been in a really long time. Um, but it really worked, and I could really feel that. So I'm now getting excited about the next phase of design, and I'm so thankful for this upcoming seed round because now I have to do something similar. I have to unleash the beast, and it's a really positive, creative beast, and there's lots of stuff flowing, but it was so powerful and so helpful. And so much synchronicity. That's the other thing. I just could not keep track of all the synchronicities that were happening that related directly back to the design web process. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I think it helped so much to have all these people going on the journey together, and we all shared our stories. And that really helped me too. So, yeah, that's my story. No fun little video. That would have been too much time for me. To make a 3-minute video, it probably takes 3 days. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, John, for sharing. And for those of you that don't know, the seed is for cultural emergence, effective design. We will now move on to another of my significant collaborators. So, Emma, over to you to share a bit about the Mother Nature Project.
I'm Emma. I live here in Herefordshire in the UK, and I'm friends with Looby, and I work with her. I handle the course bookings at Applewood, help with our 2 websites, and make newsletters that you receive from us. And if you've ever been to one of our courses in person, I'll have cooked you dinner. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Um, Over the last 2 years, a lot of my work has been heavily weighted towards supporting Looby with her work of spreading cultural emergence and things like the principles, the core routines, and wise wordings of cultural emergence, and from Looby and John, have rippled into my own life very much, and it's become very much part of my own personal and family culture. In particular, this year, I've delved into the Peace course, which is Peace, Empowerment, and Cultural Emergence. We did that online back in March and April. And the nature, and this has brought my nature connection practices and my journey as a mother have become very intertwined with my learning from this course. And this process has been in tandem with my use of the Mother Nature cards, which I'm here to talk about. These were produced by a wider pan-European project through 2018 to 2020. And Looby was part of producing these, and she's skillfully woven cultural emergence into the cards. If you've read them, you'll see some of the principles in there. And we thought we'd start, before I talk a bit more about the Mother Nature Project and how it's been for me, we are going to share a short video with you, which was made to go with the Mother Nature Project, and it'll give you a bit of a...
My main challenges in motherhood, where to start?
I was allowed to be me totally here. I was accepted and I was heard, I was seen. So everything I needed to be able to put the power from within to outside.
Motherhood is a personal transformation. Birth is a kind of threshold where everything changes. It's not just a baby is born, a mother is born.
Modern society, we've quite lost our connection with other mothers and other families. So when we come into being a mother, it's suddenly we haven't necessarily had the role models that our ancestors would have had. So it can feel quite isolating and very much new territory that we're really unsure of how to navigate. And so the Mother Nature Project really helps us to understand that journey and to provide a map of that human behaviour that happens in this transition time.
I think there's so much support and healing that can happen just when moms come together and allow themselves to take time for themselves to reflect on their emotions, on their well-being, and to take the time to step back for a little moment and get out of this daily rush. And it shouldn't be a privilege, it should be something that's for granted, that every mom is able to take time for herself and to look within what she needs.
Today I had this image of like all the different rivers coming together and building one ocean, and that like we need all the women's energy, but it's fine if one of us just sometimes floats like on the water.
That's great. I hope you all enjoyed that. I've seen it a couple of times now and really enjoy it. It really gives you a richness to it. And after I finish my bit here, I'll share a link to the video again if you want to watch it again, or yeah, it didn't come down so well, it didn't on mine, but I know it would have for some of you to see again in the chat. And here are, I'm gonna hold them up, the some of the Mother Nature cards that you've seen in the process. So they're really beautiful cards. And yeah, I thought today, as part of this, in Mother Circles that we use these cards in, we pick cards, and I picked one today, which is this one. You can see it, which is called Get Out, Get Wild, Reconnect with Nature. It's time to let nature fully into your life. Nature is everywhere, which I thought was quite good. And yeah, using the cards for me has helped me to connect to who I am, who I want to be, and imagine who I could be as a mother and as a woman. It's given me lots of ideas and things to reflect on. And of course, it's got me outside in nature because it's got nature connection practices in there. I've been following natural rhythms and cycles and bringing my son along with me on this journey, and slowly introducing him to some of the gratitude practices from Cultural Emergence and from the Mother Nature cards and the natural world, and celebrating the cycles through the year. And it's really brought a richness into our relationship, and hopefully it's going to carry on and ripple in his life as he grows and becomes an adult, and it's definitely very much embedded in mine. I'm really grateful to Looby and John and other Cultural Emergence voices through the courses we've been on, and the women of the Mother Nature Project who brought this into my life. And if you're interested to find out a bit more about the Mother Nature Project and the cards, I'll put a link in to our website where we've got a page dedicated to it. And on there's a link to the Mother Nature Project website where you can download a free extract from the guidebook and have a closer look at the cards. And if you're interested to buy them in English, we also have them for sale on our website, and I'll pop a link in there as well. Finally, I've got some exciting news to share with you all. When the funding for the Mother Nature Project came to an end in early 2020, like the rest of it, experienced a bit of a blip, and it's taken some time for it to settle back in and find new ways of working and looking for funding. And it's taken some time in the growing, and I'm really pleased to share this evening that the Mother Nature Project has got some funding from the Erasmus Project again, which will help to create the next phase. We're going to be building on the existing cards, the guidebook, Mother Nature Journey courses and other courses developed by the partners. And the next phase will bring more of these teachings online. That's been one of the adaptations, and in-person teaching aids and podcasts and other online materials. And these are really specifically to help women to continue to connect to themselves and nature and their journeys as mothers. But this also directly and importantly in the world we live in, especially with COP26 at the moment, to meet the challenges of climate change and carbon reduction, and their place as mothers as part of their family culture in imagining and growing a new world, which is what needs to happen if we're going to make it through this next phase of our life. So the Pan-European group from Italy, Hungary and the UK, I'm going to keep going over the next 2 years building this. So do keep an eye out for what's coming up. And thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Emma. And I loved just when you were saying you were sharing with your son, one of the lovely moments of this year was when me and Emma were out in her yard doing a design, and Robin, her son, came home from school and went, "Oh, Looby, you're doing one of those things that my mum does." It's like, you're doing a design like my mum does. It's like, yes. Lovely. So yes, get the young generation. Over to you, Lee.
Thank you. So hello again, everyone. I realize in my nervousness at the start of this call, I didn't fully introduce myself. My name is Lee. I have had the pleasure of being on a cultural emergence journey for the last 3 years. And in that, I have also been part of this FIT training group that has been indeed a gloriously wild and supportive journey over these last 16 months. As yeah, the world really started to change very quickly as we were looking to start this facilitator training journey. So over these years, I have started and completed several different designs. And during this FIT training pathway, I did a couple of larger designs, and some of that I'm going to share with you, as well as I have also really appreciated the toolkit to be able to navigate parts of my day. And it took some time over these last 16 months to come into a greater awareness that actually the toolkit has become very alive in me. It's more like the reflection, the noticing through reflections that actually, yeah, I use the toolkit all the time in small ways, even like how to get to town and what am I going to do today for my shopping and my organizing. But in my larger presentation at the end of our Fit Pathway journey together, we were invited to do a sharing. I chose to do a storytelling and I made some cards. And I was noticing in terms of how I wanted to present to the group that my journey with cultural emergence over the last 3 years has really kind of been in tandem with like a personal healing journey at the same time. So I'm going to share some storytelling cards now and talk about these symbols. This is the first one that I want to share. So here we have the spiral, and I made this card to not only signify the spiral and the ways that at times we come around to things again, and it's not the same spot, but parts of it feel like the same spot. But sometimes there are also these moments of intersection that can be felt like crossroads. And sometimes the crossroads lead back to something from before, and sometimes it seems like they're bringing things in. And sometimes I have experienced that these crossroads seem to tie back to several layers of my life experiences, like multiple layers, like this one here, or sometimes it's a bit more recent. And then as well with this symbol, I also was wanting to be able to work it in more than one direction, because sometimes those crossroads can feel like they're lifting up into something new, and sometimes it can feel like a bit of a, oh, I'm returning to an opportunity or a moment that has been before. Again, it's not the same, but it feels extra familiar. So this was again the way that I chose to work with the symbol of the spiral, and I chose again to put it on a black background. Again, black for me symbolizing the place of the void and infinite potential. So the spiral coming out of infinite potential, showing a pathway with it, and at times there being this like, ooh, juncture. And for those of us that have perhaps ever walked a labyrinth or been working with some sort of walking practices, you know, there's this place where you can't really see where the next step is taking us, but it's one foot in front of the other. And again, sometimes we bump into something that's giving us some more information. So this was my spiral card. And then in my tandem journey with cultural emergence and healing, have been having a lot of time and interaction and growth with my ancestors. So this was the card and the symbols that I chose to draw to represent the ancestors. And this drawing this symbol was really an emergent process for me. I was aware that I was somehow wanting to represent, shall we say, us coming from then a place of our parents, and that going back into all the layers of the ancestors. And as I was trying to start to draw this symbol, I was doing quite a linear thing at the beginning where I had like me and then my two parent triangles, and then off of each point here, the other ancestors. And it was just getting really messy. So again, using emergence to support emergence, I kind of threw all that out the window at some point and just came back to another way of representing multiple layers of ancestors within the triangle, which was again the shape choice that I had for ancestors at this time. And then finding a way that I felt was much more fluid to represent the layers of ancestors, sometimes feeling closer or sometimes feeling a bit farther apart, like farther away from me. Definitely these intersections, as I have found across my lineage. So there's been at times a lot of overlap. It hasn't necessarily just been, yeah, very designated, you know, one generation and then the next generation. In my healing journey with different modalities and cultural emergence, I've been finding, yeah, that there can be indeed multiple layers happening at once. So again, this was my ancestor card and symbol. And then as this has been a healing journey for me, I drew a healing card. And I chose to work with the color pink here, just with the ancestors. I chose to work with the color brown, and again, the white and the black and the gold, the brown of the earth, the soil that has nurtured us, the soil that holds everything that has come before and holds the nutrients for everything that is yet to come. But with the ancestor card, I then went to pink. Pink again is the color for me personally of love and healing. And I had started just as a doodle on a separate page, this kind of blobby thing as I was just starting to play with the crayons and paints and this fantastic glue, glitter glue. And I had this on a separate page, and I was drawing this kind of very, should we say balanced? I was looking for more balance in drawing a flower mandala. And I was looking at that and I'm like, well, that all feels very congruent, and healing doesn't necessarily feel very congruent in its process for me at all. So I then realized that I had this other pink kind of blob from an earlier drawing, and I just cut it out and put it on top, and it came to represent for me the moment of healing. You know, there can be this messiness which in my life I have at times experienced as tension or confusion, which is giving me an indication that something is wanting to come closer to the surface, to be seen, to be known, to be held differently, to be met with more compassion. That generally is a theme for me. It wants to be met with more compassion and love. So there's some pink messiness, which then is emerging and being held by, again, this lovely flower that has more form to it, that can support it, that also then has multiple layers. Again, working with the pink and white. So with that, that is my sharing of how I have chosen to leverage acts of creative play to bring them into cultural emergence to be able to share with the world. Thank you very much. And with that, I'm now going to pass to Trisha. Trisha, are you there?
Yeah, thanks, Lee. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Trisha. I'm coming from the west coast of Scotland, not far from Glasgow. Follow the River Clyde down, about 20 miles from Glasgow, and you'll come to where I live, Gourock. I've had the pleasure of being on the facilitator training with Looby, and like Lee, has been quite a healing journey for me. And I just like to sort of share a wee magical moment, magical journey, sort of during the summer. One of my passions also is herbalism, and I've got a little herbalism group. And during the summer, I had the pleasure of actually tutoring a group on the seed course, and Kate and Bernard, who I think's there as well, and Kate and I were the three facilitators for the group, and we're trying to come up with a name, and we eventually came up with the Linden Tree Group because we were doing it about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you know, people could come under the linden tree, the shade of the linden tree at that time of day. And then this just sent me on a little magical journey about the linden tree. So I had to find out exactly, you know, what the linden tree was all about. And during that week as well, I was invited to go on a foraging work with my herbal mentor. And she pointed out the linden tree to me. And I went, oh, right, gosh, it's really easy to spot. And fine, I came back to my flat, and I've got a car park, and there's 2 big trees on the entrance to the car park, beautiful trees. And they were on my list of trees to identify. And then suddenly realizing, my goodness, they're linden trees actually. You know, and it was just such a magical moment for me. Discovering the linden tree, and then everywhere around Gourock and Greenock, I must have identified at least 50 linden trees. So, and my go-to cultural emergence principle has always been discovering abundance, either within myself, my environment, or, you know, sort of out a little bit. And one of the things I read about herbalism is like what you actually need will sort of show up, you know, magically show. And although the trees have been there, I magically became aware of them, you know, when I was actually doing the linden tree tutorial group. And at the same time, my tutor also then asked me if I would research the linden tree for our herbal group, which I, you know, agreed to do. And what I found out about the linden tree was like it's very special in Eastern Europe, and it's a sacred emblem, and it's related to the goddess Freya, who's a Germanic goddess, since she's a goddess of love and truth. And also in Eastern Europe, lots of communities used to sort of hold meetings under the linden tree, and they made important decisions under the linden tree. And you can use every part of the tree. Maybe the berries, I've found it hard to find something for those, but the little flowers are really truly potent. They're hypertensive, they reduce cholesterol, but more they're very relaxing. They're a sedative, but a relaxing sedative as opposed to a sleeping sedative. So I was able to harvest so many little flowers that I've really incorporated into my life and use, and I can testify that it's a wonderful little herbal tea. And also I found that it's also called the musical tree because, you know, at the height of summer when the flowers are out, like the bees and butterflies and moths and everything are just so attracted to this tree that you could hear it from 500 yards, the buzzing. And also the wood of the linden tree has got a brilliant acoustic property as well. So lots of musical instruments are made from the linden tree, and anyone that knows me knows like I love my music. But also found out the last little thing I'd like to share was that under the linden tree there's folklore, which I'll transform into a fact, that you cannot tell a lie under the linden tree. So beware. So with our linden tree group, on the very last tutorial, Kate and I decided that this was going to be about magic and light. And at the end, we invited everyone to do a bit of a chart storm, and with the name being flying out of the linden tree. What are you going to fly out of the linden tree with? And we did a chat storm, and then I'm just going to read the poem that subsequently the chat storm produced. And I do treasure this poem. It's very beautiful, and this is how the chat storm read, basically. So it's flying out of the linden tree. I feel that permission to be creative has been unlocked. I am a designer and I can create magic inside and out. Trusting the process, I fly like an eagle with the beauty and nurturing of this shared global community. A feeling of new patterns emerging, the magic of cooperation flying to a clear vision. I will fly out of the linden tree with confidence, feeling alive and honoured to be part of the great turning, releasing limitations, sharing melodies and catching updraftful playful flow. I will step into the flow and then I let go. I open my mind, my heart and my soul. I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. I open my mind, my heart and soul. And I'm very grateful to the Linden Tree group, Bernard and Kate and myself, for producing this beautiful little poem. And I'll hand that back to yourself, Ruby. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Trisha, for sharing all that magic from the Linden Tree group and from the linden trees themselves. I feel like we've had a little excursion to the linden tree trees. Yeah, wonderful. So now over to Kate and Lee. They're going to share a sort of collage from the whole facilitator training group. Over to you, Kate and Lee.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we decided we would say something, Lee, didn't we? Before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a multimedia presentation, and it's really the result of a collective design. I'm going to let you say things, Lee. You've got them much more at your fingertips than me, I think.
Okay. Right. So, wow. I mean, the journeys and the layers on this presentation. Hey, I mean, not only what we were about to show, but from where it started to emerge from our fit group when we first were coming together and knew right away in late spring 2020 that we were not going to be able to physically meet at Applewood. And over the course of the months, you know, we really held this candle that we were going to be able to meet in person as a group at Applewood in the summer of 2021. And then April, May, oh, I might sneeze. Anyway, we then collectively it came to a decision-making process about whether that was going to be possible, how this was happening, and we decided that we were not going to physically meet at Applewood to close our our facilitators journey together. And that that was really complicated for a lot of us. So as a way to take this place of grief that had then come, and to be able to work it, we did a collective design. So there was this moment where we took the design web and we all got to share in a Google document just our thoughts of it, and then that body of work sat for a couple months. And as part of the designs to write up for completing our fit pathways, I decided to make a commitment that I would do something with that collective journey. So I did start to type it up, and then July I kind of reached out, did anybody want to do anything collaborative? And again, it kind of sat, and then, waiting for divine timing to show itself. Yes, there we were. Hey, Kate, well, we were like, all right, let's do something with it. And quite quickly, right, the pieces came together from, other creative expressions that we had and wanting to work with it. So I guess I'll leave it there. Let's just run it.
That's cool.
Anything else, Kate?
No, I think maybe just to say to people there are 4 phases to it. So you'll see it's moved through 4 phases.
Full of really good intentions. I've started so many things.
And
I'm alive again. Or the work that I was doing, the work lots of us were doing, the reconnecting with people and
at home with this.
And even what I have been seeing in the garden and in the forest.
These observations about our natural environment.
Which is about water, which is then the element that ties back into the ancestors.
And it's like the change makers are now being challenged.
Pretty much everyone on the planet has this embodied experience of cultural emergence. They're living through it. Yeah. And phrases like pattern disruption, pattern disruption, yeah, we know that one.
Like, I need this, obviously, for something, to come into place or come into play.
Yeah. It feels like a safe space. It feels like a space where we can grow.
Ready?
Oh, yeah. What? What's this? What's happening? What's this? What's happening?
Went inward the last couple of months.
Yeah, we're in this transition place of
do more reflecting on the sort of what next, where do I go from here.
So I'm just starting to sort that through, but that's a bit of letting go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that we have seems like being on like a.
You are going in and out a bit.
We've just been bombarded with more information than human beings can actually absorb. You're on alert constantly.
And an overwhelming of the senses and the amount of information about all sorts of things.
Going to the Sitzboard.
So I was out in the void and in the darkness.
There's a lot going on out there.
And we're feeling it in our tissues, in our fluids, literally. So now go forward. Yeah.
Traditional way is not working, then we need to find another way.
Opposed to this in-between place of no longer that, but not quite this. Is that then the drawing together?
Weave this together, and I mean, there's still a lot of weaving, and it will ever be for sure.
Like popped out into the world.
And I've lost lots of things, and I've still got a harvest, which I'm so grateful for.
And it feels like I'm waking up now and it's autumn, and that's really beautiful.
But it's peaceful, which I'm very grateful for, and it's useful, it's very grounding.
Yeah, and tired, but okay.
Yeah, and I really think we are maybe in a kind of Corona Southwest feeling still.
And that, yeah, it's just such a fundamentally different rhythm.
You know, the collectively in this group here now.
As with nature, and then we had rain, and then everything just burst into life.
There are so many amazing, beautiful people all around the world who are doing, amazing things, like.
Yeah, I definitely think it's about self-acceptance and where we actually are at now.
Grounding and harmonizing collectively with the planet.
Yeah, it's harvest time. Just appreciating what we have.
Hello, nice to see you all after what seems a long, long, long time.
Yeah, and that all of us seems to be really exhausted.
But my energy's coming back.
And it's really getting more clear and better.
You know, we should actually, you know, I think if we were a bit quicker on the pause, then it would be okay, but
since there's been such a great pause, so we kind of like we're really slowing down into what Gaia is doing, because Gaia is at a much slower pace than we have been artificially living at. So.
Giving ourselves more time to be able to listen to the intelligence of the natural world. And then there's the rhythm these days. Gracefully, and by that I almost mean like from the divine, you know, with grace, was soft. Something very subtle, something very soft, small, subtle is actually exponentially more potent.
I kind of equate this time to cultural quicksand. When you're in quicksand, the worst thing you can do is panic and try and move quickly. We need to slow down.
Anytime I've had a pause forced on me, there's usually big changes coming. Pause forces you to be so grateful when something else comes along that you're much more open to it.
Hope in my heart, and
we're in change. So many of us are feeling the same thing. We're in such a transitional space, but
small, subtle potency in this small group, our subtleness. You know, there is efficacy in this for do less and be trusting and loving.
The breeze, the sun, and feel better outside. Connected, grounded. Yeah, so thank you.
There is this level of connection that we have, and we're all feeling it, and how we can hold the space and be that cohesion for others moving forward. So.
How our pausing can serve the collective.
We'll just learn how to sing together with all these differences. I mean, it would be really great when humanity is joining that concert.
Wow, thank you so much, Lee and Kate. That was, very amazing to see that and hear that again, even though I have seen it and heard it quite a few times now already. Lee, do you have anything you'd like to say to wrap up? Or
Yes, looking at the time, I think we do have a few more minutes. So kind of back to me and Kate. Do you want to start with how this process was for you? To take it out of the writing into
Yeah.
another
Yes, indeed. So it started with the Eight Shields, Eight Directions model as a framework to create the presentation, and we drew in a few other sort of influences like Hippocratic humours and the way that relates to the universal elements, and also sort of that sort of circle of elements used for healing. And we invited the group to contribute in all sorts of ways. It was a recording of a shared conversation, but there was also the written work that Lee described earlier. There was a sort of written design process that we'd been through, and then really working with the sounds, which is the bit that was most fun. So weaving in this shared conversation as snippets which illustrated the different movement around the seasons and the four phases of growth, exploratory, mature, and elder. And that also wove in sit-spot recordings from various...
Fordi jeg tænkte, du nok spillede, så tænkte jeg, og jeg kunne også lige tage den til.
It's muted Tony. It's Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Tony. And we also wove in bits of my music and bits of a lot of Lee's beautiful chime work. And I think I should let Lee talk about her chime work there.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, yes, when we were then starting to feel into how to take the four phases, which is again how the written design was broken down into and what to layer on, another aspect of my emergence and honoring my wisdom within while absolutely tending my personal culture over this last 18 months has been my growth with working with different sound technologies. So for this design, I then brought some of the acutonic planetary hand chimes in and intuitively felt into which chimes would then have most alignment with the four phases. So these are the three chimes that became part of the growth phase. And the planetary archetypes that are represented here are the sun, and this is Jupiter, and this is Earth Day, i.e. the 24-hour cycle of the day. And these chimes, and in terms of the frequency that they've been tuned to is derived from the celestial movements that then mathematically broken down into a frequency, which is a bit different than a regularly evenly scaled harmonic like music scale. So the different chime sounds that you hear then in that presentation are the different chimes that I chose to bring in for the four phases. And with that then, to be working that archetypal energy as well. With that, I'll hand it back to you, Kate. Is there something else?
Thank you. Just that it was interesting to play with the chimes and think about the vibrations and the vibrations of colours as well. So we included the colours, and in fact the chimes that Lee had chosen that just fitted beautifully with the colours. So for spring, the colours of those chimes were yellows and violets, which are certainly here. The sort of purples and yellows are what you see in spring, and summer there was a red and an indigo in the winter, that sort of dark, close held feeling of that deep color. So we designed the color around that as well.
Right, and then back to the other layer of sound. I remember to go and grab. So I also brought in the koshi chimes, and there are 4 koshi chimes, and each koshi chime is tied to an element as well. So in terms of recordings, I did that, then got sent over to Kate. Blessings for having a studio, music studio, to be able to do these things. And that layer again of element on top of vibration, on top of the phase of the design, on top of the seasons and the times, And on that beautiful drawing that you done, Kate, thank you for also having brought in ritual and custom, as well.
Yeah, little bits of folklore in there too. So snippets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was lovely then for me to be able to bring in some of the photographs, as I do like to photograph nature as well.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, thank you so much to both of you and to all the FIT group, the facilitator group, because it was all our voices and words in there as well. So it was that's a really kind of a collaborative, emergent piece that came from the group, and it's just really lovely. We were all enthusiastic that we could share that beautiful piece that you put together with a wider audience, and yeah, and to celebrate the completion of our FIT journey, and also celebrating this year we've had of Cultural Emergence, where the facilitator group has seen the book go from idea and files on my computer out into being birthed out into the world. So thank you for being the supportive container for that group as well. And today is a another completion as well for Kate, and we've been working together on our facilitator on the permaculture diploma as well as the facilitator journey. And today Kate has been presenting her diploma earlier today, and we'd like to celebrate that. So I believe with the power of technology, here's the piece of paper going across Herefordshire and arriving in Kate's hands. Kate, here we go, celebrating. Hold it up a bit closer so we can see. Yes, you have celebrating that you have got your permaculture diploma today.
Thank you. Thank you to quite a few of you were there, and thank you so much.
Yeah, and yeah, we'd just like to send you all, from all of us, a big whoosh of just encouragement and gratitude and celebration. Well done, Kate. Woo! Yeah, maybe I feel that everyone would like to actually unmute and send you a whoosh. I can just feel it, and just get ready for a big whoosh. Kate, are you ready to receive this big celebratory whoosh for getting your permaculture diploma today? Oh,
thank you so much.
Yeah, wonderful. And yeah, wow, what a rich evening of sharing we're having. And we've shared from the group, and we thought that actually now we might go for a bit of collaborative, emergent poetry writing and see what comes. And so we're going to do the same as what Trisha described as our chat storm, our chat burst or flurry. So we have a line to start us off of our vision for cultural emergence is, and I'd like you all to just take a deep breath and just absorb some of the beautiful images and words and inspiration stories that you've been immersed in for the last while. And even if you're on Facebook Live or watching a recording, you can still put a comment in or wherever you are. But for those of us on the Zoom room, if you'd like to think of what your vision is for cultural emergence, and put just a few words, phrase in the chat, but don't hit send for the moment. We'll hit send in a chat flurry in a moment. So type away, what's your vision? What's our vision, our collective vision for cultural emergence? Okay, on the count of 3, let's see what the emergent Zoom chat will do. Okay, on the count of 3, when you're ready, 1, 2, 3, press send. Lovely. Okay. So I will start reading it out from the top and then I'll hand over to you, John, in a moment. So our vision for cultural emergence is a way of creating a new way of being in the world. Global network of healing for humanity, the future generations, more than human world. Sharing, caring, supporting, nourishing, igniting the collective fire.
World happiness, entirely new ways of living and being. A way of being held in a creative, transformative space with the opportunity to develop and grow. Ripples of transformation, nourishing and empowering change. A bright future for all. Expressing magic within as we lovingly respond to life.
We all shine, and this invites all those around us to shine. Love, light, and empowerment. A world which embodies our inner spirit in the outer connection to each other and the more than human world. Peace, awareness, creativity. One world, many cultures. New birth, deep foundations. The recognition of humanity in each other. I am because you are. Creation.
A compassionate world, free of oppression and full of love. Wow. Oh, let's just breathe that in and feel the potential of that and feel that the seed going into seedling and growing and thinking about how we can personally and collectively nurture that vision and water it and give it attention and help it to grow, because I don't know about everyone else, but I feel quite moved and hopeful from reading that. Lovely. And so John, would you like to share a bit about what our future plans are and what we're doing to help nurture that vision and how people can get more involved?
Yeah. Well, we are getting ready to, we're currently incubating in a reflective and sort of deep creative space, a group of people who are going to cross over the threshold into the year 2022 and step into a designing community where the collective field of all of us and our intentionality around our design is going to create a whoosh of energy that lifts all of us to a whole nother level of creativity. And this is the experience when we run Cultural Emergence and Effective Design. It's everyone's working on their own design, but there is absolutely no way for any of us to escape the collective creativity and reflective power of each other's feedback and energy, and just the sense of, I won't even call it accountability. It's not like, oh, I have to do my homework, so Kate's going to keep an eye on me to make sure I did what I said I was going to do. It doesn't have that feeling. It's more like, I'm so excited to move my design because I can't wait to get back with you all and tell you what's happened, like where I'm at. And there's just this feeling of building and building and building. It's a swirling energy that just keeps getting stronger, and the field keeps getting stronger. So it's a wonderful place to experience design. And of course, we'd much rather be in person, but it was so remarkably powerful back in June. It literally just transformed a lot of people's lives. And I've heard so many stories, even one family that was having a really difficult time conceiving, and they went through all these medical practices and they got really depressed. And just before we did the seed course, I was talking to the husband, and he was explaining to me, how they've kind of given up and they're really sad and there's all this deep grief and all this. And then he did his design within seed, and it caused all this healing in the household, and it caused all this other stuff, and they conceived, and they're going to have a baby in March, which I hope they'll name Design Web. I'm sure they won't, but there was like story after story like that, but that was the most powerful story. And I just I know it's going to be a beautiful crucible of love and creativity, and I'm so excited to be part of that. And what a heck of a way. I mean, it's like putting New Year's resolution on steroids, you know, in a really positive way. Steroids is not the right word. Compost tea and biodynamic energy that causes it to burst forth with all this power. And so what's happening is as people are enrolling in seed, you know, they're not going on hold. We're running something that we used for seed last time, which we only did, you know, we did 1 day of reflection, an activity like here's a reflective activity to help you nourish the birth of your vision and your design, and that's called the renewal of creative path. And there's traditional ways of that being done all over the northern hemisphere in this time of year when the light outside goes down. Then we work on the light inside to see what we can learn from that and what we can grow from that. And it's a form of tracking our life patterns and looking at where connection has been strong and where connection has really nourished us, and then looking back on our life and saying, well, where has connection been diminished or muted, and how can I transform that coming into this year? So it's this wonderful way of going into the deep alchemy of our own life in connection with all beings and each other and ourselves and our ancestors and the unborn generations, and really building up this creative juice that then when we go into Design Web, we have this powerful force behind us that really helps to bring you know, this energy through into our design, so that our designs are not, you know, as I said earlier, it wasn't just cleaning a garage, you know, it was activating flow. You know, it's like bringing something bigger into small mundane tasks. So we've been wanting for years, Looby and I have been talking about, well, we always do Renewal of Creative Path this time of year with groups of people all over the world. How fun would it be to go right from Renewal of Creative Path right into manifesting our ideal scene or some component of it using Design Web? So we're finally doing that very consciously. We did it in June in a small way, like I said, but we worked on this for a while, and it just felt like the right thing at the right time. And I'm just so excited about all the people who are in there already, and I can feel the little, you know, the wizard cave is lit up, you know, and it's all these little flashing fairy lights are going on in the wizard cave as people are really touching into this deep creative journey of life. And so I'm personally extremely excited about it. And yeah, I'm not sure if I need to say details, but I think you'll probably drop them in the chat, will you, in case anyone wants to join us for the journey?
Yeah, thank you, John. Yeah, do please join us for the journey. It's already, as John says, a bit of an adventure beginning that will take us in unexpected directions, I'm sure. Yeah, thank you. And Lee, over to you.
Right, so in regards to the season, where yes, in the Northern Hemisphere, perhaps we have the opportunity to be a bit more internal. My perfect scene, sitting in a living room with a warm wood stove and getting to read a book. So on that note, I'm just wanting to share again the opportunity to acquire this book off of the website. Okay, yeah, I got my sticky notes, and just wanted to share, not only did I have the pleasure of receiving this book with signed and a little note to myself. Oh, I can find that page easily on the inside. Thank you, Looby. That is still an opportunity should people choose to consider acquiring a book for yourself or others. But I also, Looby, you know, I have one of the originals, meaning this is the first edition. Thank you so very much, which I also have the pleasure of having you sign. And in terms of going onto the website, where you can, of course, find upcoming courses, there is the opportunity right now for those of you who maybe are not yet signed up for the newsletter. If you do so, you get a free ebook of 7 Ways to Think Differently, which this little guy in paper form, Looby, it's been in my backpack across continents, very handy sized for this profound and nurturing wisdom and great reminders at times when I've found myself in states of a bit more confusion and frustration. Great little personal guidebook. So again, the website is, well, it's listed in the chat, is of course cultural-emergence.com. And on that, there's the page that's got all the courses as well as the other future sharings. And with that, Emma, I'm looking around my screen. Hey, Emma, did you want to touch in again about anything further with the Mother Nature Project at this time?
Oh, other than to say to keep an eye out if you're already on the Facebook groups that Looby shares with her own one. There's the Mother Nature Facebook group as well, and yeah, just to keep an eye out for more information coming up about the future Mother Nature course, and of course there are cards. And yeah, so we can do that. But yeah, do keep an eye out for what's coming up, and yeah, really excited to be sharing about that, and also really excited to be joining you all on the renewal of Creative Path and the C course in January. And links on the link that Looby's pasted up in there, you can go to the landing page. There's some videos on there from John and Looby talking about the course a bit more and giving you more of a flavour of it. So yeah.
With that, I think we are indeed coming quite close to our closing. Looby, did we want to do another round of gratitudes? I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, let's do some gratitude. Yes. Yeah, well, I'm feeling so full from the richness of the shares tonight, and just the creativity that that comes through this collective being, that comes through then the individual and the collective. And it's just been such a feast to see all of that come together tonight, and know that there's more as well that we'll be sharing over the coming months and years and lifetimes. Yeah. John, would you like to share some gratitude for the...
Yeah, I encourage you all to offer some gratitude as well in the chat on your way out. Just, let's put a little blessing of gratitude on all the things that were shared here today. So much gorgeous magic woven through your hands and your hearts and your minds, and all the wonderful projects that were shared with us. Yeah, it felt really, really good to... I know how much work it went into creating all these lovely media presentations and all the things that you're sharing. So thank you so much for that, taking us on that journey. Yeah, and I know, I'd love to close the gratitude, but I'd love to hear, if Kate wants to offer any gratitude on her way out as well before I do the closing gratitude, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's hear from Kate and Lee and anyone else that shared, or the facilitators. We've got a few minutes. I know there's Tony and Debs as well. So yeah, we'll come back to you, John, to properly close us. So
Thank
Kate
you.
and then Lee.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been quite a day today. It's and I've felt, I suppose my biggest gratitude is feeling part of this amazing community. What a incredible global connected group of people, and this sense of huge potential within the group, and of change happening, change sort of moving amongst us in a way that's really creative and enabling and powerful. Feels like a powerful opportunity. So I'm really huge gratitude for that, and also gratitude for two beautiful ancient trees that I met on my journey across Herefordshire this afternoon. Beautiful ancient oak trees. So those are my two gratitudes: the community and the two trees. Thank you. Shall I pass to Tricia?
Sort of grateful for this evening. It's just been such a beautiful, nourishing, full of hope and inspiration, and just so creative. And I'd just like to offer gratitude that things like this, sort of these Zoom calls, that I can smile and just be in the present moment and feel the empowerment of that present moment. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I have had so much gratitude for having been held in the FIT group over these past 16 months, and the honor to be able to work this collective presentation. It really was just so full from this group. It was, yeah, it's just such a deep honor. My gratitude from the natural world is I am back on the shores of Kootenay Lake in Canada. I don't think I've actually said that yet. I am in Canada, in British Columbia, on the shores of Kootenay Lake, and this lake has held me multiple times in my life on that spiral. So I have spiraled back to this location, and I have incredible gratitude for that, and a lot of inspiration and calm hope. So it's just very calm hope heading forward into the ROCP and this coming C course. I very much look forward to meeting more of you in that. With that, I'd like to pass to Devs.
I cannot help but be moved to be a part of Cultural Emergence and the facilitator training. I listened to the shared design. It just embodies everything of what we're trying to do. So I have an immense gratitude for you, Lee, and for Kate for doing that, and just combining that, all our voices. It just really moves me to hear that. So thank you.
Lovely. And Tony, would you like to share your voice and your gratitude?
I would. I am grateful for a lot of things, but I think at this moment, the magic of the deep darkness, I would like to pay my gratitude to that. And in this deep darkness, that sometimes the moon shows up, the moon that actually reflects the lights of another one. And may that be an inspiration and something to be grateful for all of us.
Lovely, thank you. Emma, did you want to share some gratitude on your?
Yeah, I'll just share a bit. I think having done quite some of my cultural emergence learning online and being in the Zoom fit sphere, I get this immense sense of gratitude that I walk back into this room on this screen and I'm with this great big bunch of people who are all over the world, different ages, different backgrounds, and just kind of the emergent learning and the wisdom that comes out, and such a deep gratitude to be here sharing it all with you again. It feels like I keep coming back into this same warm room, and I just hope this field of energy that's everywhere, that's kind of going to draw more and more people into here, so it's bigger and bigger until everyone is in this room, be it in their country and villages or in the Zoom sphere together across the world. So just have immense gratitude for that connection. And my nature gratitude today was watching flocks of siskins migrating across our land and moving in their formations in and out of the mist and creating this very surreal kind of picture of sound and things, and having that kind of mirrored through the fit presentation and that different sounds and energies and bits coming in and out. It was kind of bookended my day nicely. So yeah, thank you. I'll pass back to you, Looby.
I think we'd like to see Bernard and his Cultural Emergence masks before we finish with John.
Well, yes, I'm grateful actually to be part of this movement of Cultural Emergence, and I'm really excited to promote it to the world with my mask that can transform into a hat as well, if you like. And I ship it worldwide. No, I'm very grateful to be here with all of you, and it was really a nice evening, and thank you all for...
Can we see it pulled down as a mask?
You want me pull down again? Okay, here we go. There are some holes here, just, in front of the curves, so I can see you as well.
Thank you, Bernard.
You're very welcome.
And over to you, John, to close us out.
Yeah, well, great. And congratulations again, Kate, and grateful for your service and your journey. And I am also realizing, Looby, this is like, 2 days ago is the 1-year anniversary of when Sarah moved into this house, which we also manifested using Design Web. So I'm feeling doubly blessed for you and for all you've done and all you've shared, and for everyone who's participated today and who'll watch this recording later. And what a great gift it is to have tools that really help and inspire in the times that we live in. It's just really a blessing for me, and I think as a lot of you have written in the chat too, you're feeling similarly. So it's time for us to separate our minds now and go our separate ways, and just open up the circle and bring this gratitude and these good feelings that we feel inside of ourselves to nourish others as we go through our day and until we meet again. Thank you.